Hello students, welcome back. So we were discussing about the measurement in chemistry, that how, if any thing we want to measure in chemistry, then how we will measure. So we have seen the concept of significant figures, how to use it and how to do the calculation based on that. Then we have also seen the concept of rounding off the digits. Fine. So now let's start with the new topic, that is chemical equation. All of you know what is chemical equation. Fine. And its balancing. This you have studied in the 10th standard. Chemical equation. Fine. So symbol of the this element will represent in form of symbol and the compound will represent in terms of formula. Fine. So what is chemical equation? Chemical equation is nothing, it's just a brief representation of the chemical reaction in terms of symbol and formula. That is a brief representation of a chemical reaction in terms of symbols of the elements and formulas of compound and symbol of element. Fine. Now balancing also you know. So let's take one example. The calcium carbonate reacts with hydrochloric acid, gives you calcium chloride plus water plus CO2. Okay, just check its balancing part. What is the meaning of balancing of chemical reaction? Balancing means the number of atoms has to be equal on both the sides of the reactant as well as product. So LHS has to be equal to the RHS. So just see, calcium is 1 here, it is 1 here, so it's balanced. Carbon 1 here, balanced. Oxygen 3, here it is 2 plus 1, 3, balanced. Hydrogen, here 1, here it is 2, so it's not balanced. So let's make it 2 here. Now hydrogens are balanced. Fine. Chlorine 2, 2, balanced. Now just check oxygen. Oxygen is already balanced. So this is a balanced chemical equation. Means number of atoms on LHS has to be equal to the number of atoms on RHS. That is on reactant and product side. Then only the chemical reaction will be balanced. Otherwise, it is not having any meaning. Without balancing or without, you can say, unbalanced chemical reaction is not having any meaning. Okay. So now what we will get? Like what information is conveyed by the chemical equation? So information conveyed by chemical reaction or equation. So two types of information it conveys. One is qualitative, second is quantitative. Okay. So qualitative information is nothing, just the symbols, and qualitative in terms of symbols and formulas of reactants and products. Quantitatively we'll see. Fine. Quantitative is more important. Qualitatively only the symbols and the, you can say, formula of the reactants and products, and it is a balanced chemical equation. Quantitatively means that what information it is conveyed. Quantitatively you can say that. Let's see the quantitative part. Okay. So let's see. Quantitatively, consider the same reaction only. So quantitatively we can say that, can we say that this is the 1 molecule of calcium carbonate reacts with 2 molecule of HCl, gives you 1 molecule of this calcium chloride, 1 molecule of water and 1 molecule of CO2. In terms of moles also we can say 1 mole of calcium carbonate reacts with 2 mole of HCl, gives you 1 mole of this, 1 mole of water and 1 mole of CO2. Fine. This is in terms of molecules. Then this is in terms of moles. Now let's see in terms of their masses. Molar mass or atomic mass, whatever is there. Okay. So calcium carbonate is 100 gram. So 100 parts of calcium carbonate reacts with 2 into 36.5 parts of HCl. Then this calcium chloride weight is 111 parts of calcium chloride, gives you 18 parts of water and 44 parts of CO2. So all these information we are getting from the chemical reaction only, chemical equation only. Then in other terms also we can say that 100 gram of calcium carbonate reacts with, this will come I think 73 gram of HCl, gives you 111 gram calcium chloride, 18 gram water and 22.4 liters of CO2 gas, because it's a gas here. Okay. Fine. So all these information in terms of, this is in terms of mass by volume. All these, this is a quantitative information, that quantitatively we are getting the amount, that how much amount is getting reacted. Okay, so let's see this in detail. Quantitative information. So calculation, topic is calculation based on chemical equation or involving chemical equation. That is known as the another so calculations involving chemical equation. This is known as stoichiometry. Okay, so let's see what is stoichiometry. Stoichiometry is consists of two words, stoichion and metrion. Metron means measurement and stoichion means element. Okay, as we have seen from the chemical reaction that how it is providing the quantitative information, that how many molecules are reacting, how many moles are reacting, then in terms of its masses we have seen. So all these information, you can say the quantitative information which is conveyed by the chemical equation is known as stoichiometry in terms of its volume, mass, moles and so on. So that's why stoichiometry means measurement of the amount of the element or compound present in the reaction. Okay, so measurement of the amount of the element compound present in the reaction. Okay, in terms of volume, then masses, fine, then in molecules, then moles. Okay, so this is the stoichiometry. Now stoichiometry calculations is based on, it is of three types. So let's see those types. Okay, that how the relationships are related to each other or how it is based. Fine, so with the help of stoichiometry, we will be able to calculate the amount of the element or amount of the compound which is taking part in the reaction. Okay, so the stoichiometry is the branch of science which deals with the measurement of the element. It's very, very important, stoichiometry. Okay, so it is of three types. So we'll see the numericals based on all three types. First is mass by mass relationship. Then mass by volume relationship. Then volume by volume relationship. It means what? That the reactants and the products, they are present here. Reactants and products are present in the form of their masses. Here they are present in the form of their mass and volume both. And here only present in volume. Okay, so it is of three types. So we'll see the numericals, because numericals are important. Stoichiometry is nothing, it is not a theoretical topic, it's a practical topic. Okay, from this you will come to know how much amount is required basically to for that reactant and product to take part in the reaction. Okay. So let's start one by one. Problems based on stoichiometry. So we'll see one by one, mass by mass first. And the main important thing, how to solve the numerical based on stoichiometry. What you have to do first, write down the steps first. Steps involved. First of all, write down the chemical equation in terms of symbols and formula. Then second, you have to write you have to select the species whose mass or volume needs to be calculated, or you can say given. Then the third step is you have to write down their atomic mass, then molecular mass, molar mass, anything, whatever is given according to the question will calculate. Then ratio, molar ratio, number of moles. Fine. Then calculate by applying mathematics. Fine. So these are the steps. So we'll apply all these steps one by one. First of all, we'll write the chemical equation. Then we'll select the species whose mass needs to be calculated or it is given. Then we'll see their atomic masses, molar mass, molecular mass, number of moles. And then we'll solve by applying mathematics. Simple unitary method will be applying. So let's see. So let's solve the problems first on the basis of mass by mass. Problems based on stoichiometry. First is mass by mass. Mass relationship. Let's see the question. What mass of copper oxide will be obtained? What mass of copper oxide will be obtained by heating 12.35 gram of copper carbonate. Atomic mass of copper is given. Atomic mass of copper is given 63.5 gram. Fine. So what is the first step? Let's proceed towards this numerical on the basis of those steps which we have seen, which we have discussed. So first of all, we'll write down this word form of the quotient in the form of that equation. So that is the first step. Copper oxide will be obtained by heating this. So copper oxide will be obtained by heating this of copper carbonate. So what is copper carbonate? This is copper carbonate. On heating, it is getting decomposed to give you the copper oxide. When this will get decomposed, it will give you copper oxide plus CO2. Okay, then what mass of copper oxide will be obtained by heating this gram of copper carbonate? Okay, this is given in the quotient. But let's see according to their masses, their molecular masses. So copper atomic mass is given. So calculate this molecular mass of copper carbonate. 63.5 plus 12 plus 3 into 16. This is 63.5 plus. Then oxygen is 16. Carbon dioxide is not required because they are not asking. Because what was the second step? Then we need to consider on the masses that has to be calculated or that is given. Okay, so no use of CO2 here. So we'll see the copper carbonate here. What's the mass here? 63.5 plus 12 plus 3 into 16. Here you will get 123.5 gram. And copper oxide, this you will get 79.5 gram. Okay, so let's solve. Okay, this we have written according to the equation. This is according to the stoichiometry. Okay, we are not going with the experiment. This is the experiment when they are carrying out. And this is a different thing. Let's see what we'll get according to the balanced chemical equation first. Okay, so what we have to calculate mass of copper oxide. So can we see that 123.5 gram of copper carbonate gives 79.5 gram of copper oxide. Then 1 gram of this gives what? 79.5 gram divided by 123.5 gram of copper oxide. Then come back to the quotient. What quotient is asking? Now if we get the value for 1 gram, then we can easily get for any other gram. It's like unitary method only. Like if the cost of this apple is like cost of 1 apple is this rupees. Fine, then what is the cost of 10 apples? So it's like that only. So just apply mathematics. Unitary method I know. I hope you know what is unitary method. Fine, so you have to apply unitary method only for the element. There we are calculating for the objects, for the items, but here we have to calculate for our elements or the compounds involved. Fine. So they are saying what mass of copper oxide will be obtained by heating this gram of copper carbonate. Now when you will heat 12.35 gram of copper carbonate, then what amount of this will get? So we'll get, okay, so this I'll write above. Fine. So let's see how much amount we'll get. Okay, so 12.35 gram of copper carbonate gives 79.5 divided by 123.5 into this gram will get cancelled out. 12.35 gram copper oxide. So this point you just remove. This also you just remove. This also you just remove. So this will get cancelled out. This will get cancelled out, and you will get 7.95 gram. 7.95 gram of copper oxide will get produced from 12.35 gram of copper carbonate. Fine. So it's a very simple stoichiometry. Fine. So let's see the next relationship. Next is mass by volume. Next is mass by volume. So let's see the numerical, because this you can only understand with the help of numerical. Finally you have to solve numericals only. So second is mass by volume relationship. So KClO3, potassium chlorate, on heating decomposes to give KCl and oxygen. At NTP liberated by, at NTP is normal temperature pressure, that is standard temperature pressure only, liberated by 0.1 mole of potassium chlorate. Okay, this is the question. So let's solve. So as a question given in the question, first write down the chemical reaction. First step. So potassium chlorate, again it is decomposition, gives you potassium chloride and O2. It's not balanced, so just balance it. Oxygen here 3, so make it 2 here and make it 3 here, and here also 2. Now this is balanced. Fine. Then potassium weight, will calculate the, here it is mass by volume relationship. So let's see. We're liberating from this. So here no role of KCl. So we have you can say selected the reactants and products to be calculated, or that which is whatever is given. So let's calculate the potassium chlorate here. Fine. So here I think they are talking about moles, so no need to calculate the mass. So now we'll see the relationship in terms of moles. Okay, so it is 2 mole. No liquid, this is 3 mole. Okay, so can we say that 3 mole means 3 into 22.4 liters of oxygen here. Okay, so let's say 2 mole of potassium chlorate gives you 3 mole of 3 into 22.4 liters of oxygen, because we have, this is in volume. Then 1 mole gives what? 3 into 22.4 divided by 2 oxygen. Then 0.1 mole gives what? 0.1 mole gives 3 into 22.4 divided by 2 into 0.1. Solve this, you will get that how much oxygen will be liberated in liters. Okay, solve this. So you will get the answer. So you will get 3.36 liter. When you will solve this, you will get 3.36 liter of oxygen will be liberated at NTP when we will heat 0.1 mole of potassium chlorate. So this is how you have to solve all the problems based on stoichiometry by applying the unitary method. Now let's see the last relationship. Last relationship. Third one, volume by volume. Volume by volume relationship. Okay. So what volume of oxygen at NTP? What volume of oxygen at NTP is needed to cause the complete combustion? Is needed to cause the complete combustion of 200 ml of acetylene. 200 ml of acetylene. All of you know acetylene is a hydrocarbon, that is the unsaturated one, alkene. Also calculate the volume of carbon dioxide formed. Also calculate the volume of CO2 formed. So let's see the answer. Fine. So write down the equation first, that what will happen when combustion of acetylene takes place. In general, we know that whenever hydrocarbons are burnt or the combustion reaction takes place, it always gives carbon dioxide and plus heat plus light and water. This you have studied in 10th standard. Okay, so let's write down the reaction. Acetylene is the second member of alkene. All of you know what is acetylene. I am writing here for the general formula for you people, CnH2n, acetylene. So it's the second member, so C2H. Sorry, it's alkyne, not alkene. So 2 into 2 minus 4 minus 2, 2. So this is the formula. C2H2 is acetylene. On combustion, it means we have to heat in the presence of oxygen. It will give you CO2 plus water. But it's not balanced. Balance the reaction. Two will come, 4 will come, and then here also 2 will come. You just check the balancing part. Fine. Now they are talking about the volume. So let's take first step we have done. Second step, we need to identify the elements or the compounds which volume is given or need to be calculated. So they are talking about acetylene and they are talking about oxygen. These two things they are talking about. So let's see. So let's say this is 2 volume, 5 volume, 4 volume, 2 volume. This is, let's say, we'll take volume in ml, 2 ml, 5 ml, 4 ml, 2 ml. What is the question now? Come back to the question. That volume of O2, this is according to stoichiometry we have written. Volume of O2 at NTP is needed to cause the complete combustion of 200 ml of acetylene. So volume of O2 is required at NTP to cause the complete combustion of 200 ml. So let's say 2 ml of acetylene. It produces, it requires how many, 2 ml of C2H2 requires, oxygen is 5 ml. So 1 ml of this acetylene requires 5 by 2 ml of oxygen. Then how much they are asking? They are asking 200 ml. So 200 ml requires 5 by 2 into 200 ml of oxygen, that is 500 ml of O2 is required. Yes? Okay, so 500 ml of O2 is required at NTP to cause the complete combustion of 200 ml of acetylene. Because for 1 ml, how much O2? 5 by 2, that is 2.5. So 200 ml ke liye 500 ml of O2 is required. Now let's see the another part of the question. They are asking about the volume also. Volume of CO2 formed. Okay, so let's calculate the volume of CO2 formed. Here we just calculate from any one of the reactants. So let's calculate from the carbon dioxide. Later on you will come to know that why we are calculating for carbon dioxide, not from this. Why we are calculating from O2, why not we are calculating from C2H2. So another concept will come. We will see that later on. Okay, so let's say according to the reaction, reaction is this one only, plus 5 O2 gives you 4 CO2, 2 H2. Okay, so this was 2 ml, 5 ml, 4 ml, 2 ml. Okay, so let's say 2 ml of acetylene at NTP produces CO2 4 ml. 4 ml CO2. Okay, it forms 4 ml CO2. Then 1 ml NTP forms 4 by 2 ml of CO2. Then 200 ml of CO2. So this is your answer. Fine, we'll see why we have not calculated from O2. Let's calculate from O2 also. Let's see what we will get. Because here this is a main product. That's why we have calculated from CO2 here. Okay, because O2 though is required. This is not the main reactant. This is the main reactant here, because this is the only oxygen we are providing in the form of heat, or you can say in the form of energy we are providing. Fine, so this is about the stoichiometry. So now what you have to do, you have to practice. See, I have only solved one numerical related to each type. Now you have to solve as many numericals that you can, because this stoichiometry is not that easy. It will be easy only when you will practice more and more questions based on it. Fine, because this is important part, and calculation only you can say it will come by practice only. Fine, it's just nothing, only the unitary method, but you need to understand the language of the question, what the question is saying. Accordingly you just calculate. Now you just solve as many numericals that you can. Fine, so I hope I am clear till this stoichiometry concept. Fine, so till then, thank you and have a nice day.